The thing is though, I was making six figures and I never felt rich.
Oh, this is way nicer than I thought it was gonna be.
My friend, who I actually met here in Da Nang during COVID, Chelsea, she built her career coaching business off of podcasts and started hit six figures.
I have to ask, how much money do you make as a digital nomad?
How much you make? Well, I would say it changes, but I would say I'm at that $3,000 to $5,000 mark.
Welcome back to the Cost of Living Show with Evan. I'm really excited for today's episode. We are going and meeting a friend of mine named Marvin, the podcast manager. So I met him at a content creator meetup here, and he's gonna tell us why he left Las Vegas for Vietnam and Da Nang, Vietnam in particular. I know he's been here multiple times. He's lived here longer than I have, so he's a good background on the place. Then he's gonna show me his apartment. It's like a service studio apartment, exactly the kind of thing you need if you're a single guy, sort of digital nomading or slow traveling around. We're gonna take a look in there, hear a little bit about his cost of living here in Da Nang, and then we're gonna go grab lunch at a really cool cafe we know in the area. And he's basically gonna tell us what he does, what a podcast manager is, and how you make money online right now. Yeah.
Hello.
What's up, Marvin? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Evan.
Why do you leave Las Vegas? Why Vietnam? Why Da Nang? I think you've been coming here longer than I have, right? 2 or 3 times at least.
Yeah, I've been here a few times. I would say why I left the US, and I want to frame it as it was in 2018 when I left. So it's been quite a long time.
Pre-COVID, right?
Pre-COVID, yeah. And it was a combination of things. The catalyst was in my early 30s. I was doing new home sales, and we won this contest, and it was it was only for travel. So I was like, I'm going to go to Thailand for this. And then I went to travel to Thailand, and it blew my mind.
Yeah. First time in Southeast Asia, first time abroad, basically, right?
And I was like, people, at that point in my life, I had bought a house, I had a lot of gadgets, I was consumed by material stuff, and I was so shocked how happy people were, and it really changed how I viewed my own life. And I remember being in the pool in Phuket and being like, laughing so hard. I was on a Kentucky tour with like 18 to 35-year-olds, and we were laughing so hard, my face was hurting. And I remember that moment. It's a very specific moment in my life where I was like, this is how great life could be. And I want to know how I can have more of this life. It was the flying out was the hardest moment. I remember feeling every mile flying back from leaving that group. And I stayed really close with those people. It was like 31 people, a ton of South Africans. And then I just kept working and doing those 2-week travels. I went to Bali, I went to the Philippines, I went to Iceland, Egypt, and I just saw like, this isn't enough. And I met somebody from Holland in one of my trips, and we decided to move to Bali. So but this was like years of planning and saving money.
Yeah, and sort of like scouting trips almost, or research trips, right? Like you did. So that's good to know. You didn't just like rip the Band-Aid off or go all in at once. It was a slow build. So as this process is building, how do you decide originally on going to Bali? And why don't we order something too? Emily? I'm gonna get, I think, a pineapple juice. Cho mo nước ép thơm. Nước ép thơm,
How
yeah.
about
Không được.
ice?
Yeah, da. Không da.
May I get coconut coffee?
So yeah, let's jump into that sort of second aspect. Later we'll get into Da Nang. First, why Bali? Because I do think Bali is it's the most prevalent, right? It's still the most front of mind place when I think digital nomad, or also when I think, as far back as like Eat, Pray, Love, and that whole idea of like, let's go and be reborn, restarting, right? Like Bali is synonymous, I think, with the idea of starting over, of leaving, especially for Americans, of Americans living abroad. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, so funny, it was kind of it became a full circle moment, but there was a guy from CNBC. His name was Upton, and he did a very famous piece.
Oh my God, I know Upton.
Yeah.
Anyways, go on, yeah.
Yeah. He did a famous piece on covering Dojo and the digital nomad scene there.
Yeah.
And during my trip to Bali, my initial trip, I went with a group trip. I actually didn't enjoy Bali that much. But the girl I was seeing really liked Bali. I liked the idea of going to Canggu. I hadn't gone to Canggu on that trip. And it was at that point kind of building up, there was a bunch of travel creators at the time that are still popular now, like Lost LeBlanc. And so it really made, Bali the place. But that was a moment in time because Dojo is no longer co-working that exists there. But I got close with them and I remember being in awe when I got there and things like that. And yeah, Bali was a nice chapter of my life. We had a really great time there. It was just a nice life of like driving around on a motorbike and seeing life differently for an extended period of time. It was basically my base, but I didn't work for about a year and a half, 2 years. I tried to create content. I did other things, but I would say like most people, we were like recovering corporate, like I was just so wiped out from working in corporate that it took me a long time to kind of like let go of a lot of that stress.
Yeah. So when's the inflection point then? Because I know by the time you make it to Da Nang, you're not traveling anymore. You've really like left America. You're gone for good, right? So when did you first come to Da Nang? What drew you to it? And then most importantly, what's kept you coming back, right?
So yeah, so it was kind of towards the 2019 and I felt, and it's funny to say this now, but towards that time I felt Bali was getting a bit too busy. And that's ironic to say because it's nothing like how it is now. But at that point, the shortcut road, the famous shortcut, so broken. We end up repaving it during COVID, but I could just feel like the excitement of Bali was at that peak. And you could argue if it's peaked now and things like that, but.
Great. So when you move on from Bali, Da Nang maybe is a place that, unlike Bali, hasn't sort of climaxed or peaked. So what did you heard about it and what did you feel as a first impression when you got here?
Well, I was ready to leave Bali. I didn't know necessarily where to go. Da Nang I had friends that have gone to Da Nang. It's also a beach city like I was in Canggu. So I was like, okay, so this could be a potential great spot. But at that time, this was 2019 heading into 2020. I was like, I'll do another kind of extended trip where I'll go to Vietnam, maybe I'll go to China, things like that. I was teaching English to adults online. It was a group class. And we came during Tet. So I can tell you my first impression was a little bit jarring because we got here and there was no one here. I was like, if the streets were all empty and I was like, I don't know, is this going to be good? But I reached out to the folks at Ninja Teacher.
Alex, I know.
Well, Alex wasn't here, but Kyle was.
Sure.
God bless him. I reached out to him and he didn't know me. I just said, I love the videos. I'm in here with my girlfriend. Can we meet? And he's like, sure. He's like, we're gonna go watch the fireworks at the Dragon Bridge. So from there, I met Eddie. I met Chris, who are still here. Or actually, Chris is still here. Eddie, I just saw. I ended up working for Eddie for a short period of time in my life, and so those friends, we experienced the pandemic here. And we all had to make the decision of staying or going. And then we stayed. And it was this incredible experience that honestly, I wasn't sure if I ever wanted to return because it was such a unique experience of bonding with people. None of us were planning to stay, but there was nowhere else to go.
Fascinating. I can definitely relate to that, having spent a good chunk of COVID. There's multiple lockdowns here, but one of them, I was in Hoi An, and it was a closed environment that was really beautiful. Yeah. All right, well, let's take a walk and head towards your apartment, the service department. We'll take a look inside there, and you can tell me a little bit about, the cost of living comparison, Las Vegas, Bali, Da Nang, and what your sort of monthly and daily budget breakdowns are now.
Okay.
Tell me how much it was costing you to live before you left Vegas. Like, what was your sort of monthly cost of living for the basics, like housing, food, rent, all that stuff? When you're in Vegas.
Well, we know that it's been a while, but arguably it was a lot. I mean, I had some rent wasn't that bad because I had a roommate, but just like the cost of gas, commuting, and I eat out a lot, so it was getting up there.
What was what are the numbers?
I would say like rent was close to 1,000. Food and entertainment was 1,000, and other like expenses like gas and things like that and the car payment and things like that. So $3,000, which is actually pretty decent in Vegas.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, I was making 6 figures, and I never felt rich. I was like, this is wild. I make this much money, but I don't feel like it's like I'm saving, but I don't ever feel like I'm getting ahead.
Oh God, I can relate to that, man. Let's go inside.
All right.
So yeah, tell me about where you're living now in Da Nang. Is this like a studio, service apartment kind of spot?
It's a 1-bedroom apartment, and I like this place, so you can't rent it. So it's in Da Nang somewhere.
No doxing? I can relate to that, dude.
I'm like, I want to have an opportunity to move back in here because I'm moving out on Monday.
Okay, well, how about this then? How did you find it? So this is because you found multiple places now in Da Nang, and that's a big question. So what was your process for?
So I would say the availability of apartments does change depending on the season. I came in March, and my experience was it was a little tough to find an apartment that I wanted. And so I actually stayed in hotels for extended periods of time, which are pretty affordable, which is great. So I took my time looking for an apartment, and then I ended up posting. You have to be very specific on the Facebook group, like this is where I want to stay, this is how much I want to spend, and this is what I'm looking for. Because if you don't, they'll just send you everything, and it's usually not anywhere near what you're looking for. So after a few weeks, I found this place and really, really liked it. I stayed here for 3 months from March to June. I went back to Europe for the summer for a few weeks, and then I contacted her again, and she had an availability. But I did stay in an apartment, more of a big studio in the Mayan area for about a month. That was pretty good too.
Yeah, so without doxing you.
Oh, and there's Peter.
Hey, Peter. Adios, man.
Yeah.
Take care. Well, hopefully see you when you get back.
I don't know. I'll probably see more like in Bangkok or something if you ever go.
That's good enough for me too. We'll do one of these. We'll do it in Bangkok the next time we see you, man. You talking back to California to home?
Yeah, I'm going back to Vegas. Yeah.
Vegas, right?
And then I'm going to DC. But
Nice bag. Did you buy that in Vietnam?
yeah, but in US. How long are you staying here for?
Probably till February.
Okay, you're gonna go back to the States.
And then, no, back to Saigon, back to Ho Chi Minh. So we have a condo in Ho Chi Minh. So for more about my wife's work, we're going to be moving from Da Nang back to Ho Chi Minh right after Tet holiday. Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna be like based out of there.
Yeah, I'll be based out of there. Back here a fair bit. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I lived in Saigon for 5 years. I loved it, but I've never lived there and not had like a 9 to 5 in-person work. So I'm excited to go live in Ho Chi Minh as a office bitch. Can I say office bitch? Is that allowed? It's my channel. Yeah, you know what I mean? I was literally in middle management. It was a good job, but I was in middle management, running the department of a high school the whole time I lived there.
Oh, right.
And now I'm going back as a you know,
As a famous YouTuber.
as a financially independent man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm
Can't
excited.
wait. Him and Alex will collab.
We are, yeah. We're actually going. I'm gonna meet Alex as soon as I get back. Yeah, for sure. All right.
All right, man.
Well, take care.
Yeah,
Safe
good.
travels, man.
It's funny. This wasn't even staged. Peter's literally leaving to the airport.
No, it's like Seinfeld here. Oh, this is way nicer than I thought it was gonna be. No wonder you kept her on speed dial.
Oh, okay. Is it? I haven't really spent a lot of places in.
Look at this. There's even a little like kitchenette window. I think so. It feels very, like first impression, very spacious and light. There's your paddle racket. Ooh, that's
Actually,
nice.
Peter's. He just gave it to me.
Nice.
Because I'm headed to Chiang Mai, and they don't really have pickleball. They have paddle, and he picked it up in Bali, but he doesn't need it.
Okay.
But this is my pickle. Everybody thinks it looks like Star Wars, but this is my pickleball.
I love it. Okay, so this is a legit compact but legit one bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Your open space area. So walk me through your little work setup and everything.
Oh yeah. So this is welcome to Vietnam. Maybe we can get this on the thumbnail. So
Podcasting mic, of course.
podcasting mic. Yeah, TV, Wi-Fi, my little setup here. I bought this desk from Hannah's co-working. They sell it for about $15 and they deliver it. So that was really good. And then I have my own monitor, but makeshift monitor stand.
Nice, yeah, and a little tiny pocket light there on the side.
Yeah, a little stand there. So yeah, I do a lot of work here. I was actually on the phone with my business coach today, or our meetings, and I was like, I don't know, like I like working from home, but like then I feel like a hermit if I stay at home too long, because it's rainy season right now, and we were like literally trapped for like a week of just straight rain. So I was like, I haven't seen anyone for days.
That is a real benefit though to having a workstation set up like this. Like I have one in my house. Obviously you have a great view. I can see the mountains in the background. We have the classic Da Nang Ferris wheel there. One of the two bridges, the Buddha. I mean, this is a nice view, man. It's not oceanfront. Got your own laundry set up back here. What about the bedroom?
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty spacious. The bed's a little harder side, but you can get a topper. Yeah, and there's like a light coming out. There's a strange window right there, but
no, but it's great. Whoever designed this had like natural light in mind for sure. Because right there's window pouring through, and then you actually have a decent closet set up, which is very uncommon in Vietnam, right? Like this is a full stuff, your camera gear, your setup. Sweet. I think too. Okay, well let's just head straight to the cafe for lunch. I was thinking of taking you out for lunch. Do you want to go to Vietnam? Vietnam, like the restaurant?
Yeah. We can go.
Oh, shit, no way. It's a quiet restaurant. Are we allowed to record in there and be like?
I don't know.
I have no idea. Well, we can try it out. That was a fun one. But yeah, and then you can tell me about sort of your costs, the rental structure, like not just how much you're paying, but what the agreement is on a place like this. And then I really want to talk some more about your whole business and your podcasting. Obviously, we've done one-on-one consultations together. You've done some coaching for me and my channel, this show, this podcast I have. But I'd love to like I had no idea when I met you at the meetup, I didn't really know what a podcast manager was. So when we're having lunch and stuff, why don't you like tell everyone what that entails? Because I'm like personally, I'm impressed, and I'm how you've managed to have a real location independent business, a job, right?
Yeah.
Like what you do impresses me. So I think they'll really love to hear that too. And then yeah, I want to get the breakdown of this rental structure.
All right, let's go.
So we're outside of Vietnam. It's one of my favorite spots. It's kind of like a Vietnamese fusion, a little more expensive, but really incredible quality of food. Same owners as Bikini Bottom. So let's go in there and Marvin will tell us about how he built a business and earns money online.
All right, let's go.
You wanna go ahead?
No, I don't want to expose my bald spot. I'm just kidding. I had a hair transplant.
Turkey or here? Okay, so what are the details on the apartment, on the place you said? Did you have to put down a deposit? Is it a weekly? Is it a monthly?
Yeah, she wants like a 3-month commitment.
Okay.
Typically, that's what you're seeing now these days. They want a longer term commitment. So if you're here for short term, I think like just apartments or hotels in general on like Agoda and stuff are a really good deal. If you want something more short term. But yeah, generally speaking, I did get a month apartment studio in Mayan. But you just have to pay a little bit more. And it just happened where they had like a gap between maybe 2 people renting.
Nice. I know exactly what I want here.
Okay.
Did you eat here before?
Yeah, I've been here many times.
Yeah, right. So they have like a lot of like yummy poke bowl stuff.
I have a story about this place, Evan.
Oh, do you?
Yes. When I was here during COVID in 2020, this was a 2-story cafe that opened with a koi pond outside. Oh. And I used to walk here and have coffee once in a while. I didn't realize that until recently when I was like, where is that cafe? And I was like, wait a minute. This is that cafe. This is now 2 restaurants. Mistake is upstairs. This is Vietnam. And I believe it's owned by the same people that own Bikini Bottoms.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, this used to be a 2-story cafe from what I remember.
Yeah, it'll be cool to show. I want to show people too, like what kind of, not Western, but sort of, upper middle class food you get for $6. Yeah. Sweet. So tell me about the podcast manager thing. It's such a specific but great niche to be in, I think. It's location independent, it's self-managed. You can sort of acquire oh wait, you didn't say how much. You said you're paying 3 months. You didn't say the price.
I know. I was gonna bring it up. I was like,
that's the punchline. How much are you paying?
How much? So I would say it's roughly around $400 a month.
$400 a month.
And then there's a $400 deposit, roughly there, because there's the price and then paying for the extra stuff like the utilities. So I would say roughly around 400.
So 10 million on paper or less?
I think with utilities, it's probably a little bit more, a little like 11, 12, 11.5, yeah.
Yeah, so like 440, 450, still an incredible deal, I think.
Yeah.
Really nice location too, considering the price. Maybe 10-minute walk from the beach, but 2 minutes by motorbike to anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Yeah, so tell me about the podcast manager thing, like top to bottom. How did you get started into it? My knowledge of it with you is getting direct one-to-one sort of consultation advice on my own podcast. Yeah, could I have the big in Japan, medium size, so like not that big in Japan, with brown rice? Please and thanks.
Okay. Rainbow, medium. Rainbow poke. Yeah.
Nice.
Medium. You want which please?
Brown and brown rice and salmon.
Do you want miso soup?
No. So the podcast question.
Yeah, you're Marvin the podcast manager.
I'm Marvin the podcast manager. So, I guess where I would start was I was in sales. So I was in new home real estate sales in Vegas. And then I transitioned to copywriting. And that's where I worked with my buddy Eddie. I did e-commerce copywriting basically for Amazon sellers for an agency. And I took a big course on it. And so like sales and selling was really like a backbone or my experience, but I always like making content. I've made several videos on my Instagram and tried to be a YouTuber, but I like content creation in general. And I'm a big avid podcast listener. So about 3 years ago, my friend, who I actually met here in Da Nang during COVID, Chelsea, she built her career coaching business off of podcasts and started hit 6 figures. So I was like, how does this happen? Like the monetization side of podcasting still kind of escaped to me. But we luckily reconnected in Europe and we ended up being in Tirana, Albania together for several months. And she was kind of a de facto coach to me. And, knowing that copywriting was something I wanted to step away from AI was coming aggressively towards it. And then I took a podcasting management course. Unfortunately, that course is now defunct. Like, she shut it down just like last week.
Oh.
But she wanted to move on to doing other things. But so I did that. And from there, that course had like a referral network for podcast managers. So I kind of broke my teeth. But I always had like my background in copywriting really informs what I say and coach people on the podcast. And just consuming a lot of, industry knowledge and information on a regular basis. Yeah. So post-production is mainly what I do. So I do it remotely. They record on Riverside. I take it and do everything else, from the copywriting to the editing to the uploading and a lot of just coaching and feedback.
So I'm fascinated by this idea of like creating some sort of creative space, studio space, maybe a rentable podcast space in Vietnam, either in Da Nang or maybe in Saigon. What most of the clients and people you work with in 2025, like, where are people recording podcasts? 'Cause I think, I started with this idea I'd have a podcast in a cafe, still sort of like that. I mean, we're in a cafe recording a podcast. I just love that idea. I used to read these sort of weird avant-garde books by a guy that were called Conversations Over Stolen Food. And what they would do is they would literally go to Whole Foods in New York. These are like, weird sort of artistic poet guys, and steal their lunch. They would just take open food and eat it in a Whole Foods and audio record that, and then transcribe the audio recording into a book, like into these books. You read it, and this is like literally decades ago, right? Way before even the term podcasting has arrived. But I love that idea of like being in the place, being whatever. So now even transitioning from 2 cameras and a sort of more clunky traditional TV setup to this GoPro handheld action cam setup. What appeals to me about it is that it feels more in situ, right? Like the dream scenario to me would be like if we were both wearing Google glasses or like Meta Ray-Ban glasses and had hidden mics, and that was it, right? We just had a conversation and AI magically cut it back and forth in some syncopated way so people could experience, like virtually experience our conversation. So are you finding that people are sort of setting up their podcast studios in their bedroom? Are they recording on site? Like, I don't know. Where's podcasting going? And I know it's a very rambling question. I'll have to edit it down.
No, I think you're fine. I don't think you have to edit it down. I think so podcasting itself is hit the mainstream, but from my point of view, the reason why is that it has the potential to be very authentic. So I would say that, my position on editing video podcasts is that you don't really take much out. You take things that are distracting out, you take some filler words or long pauses, but the idea is the media, there's a lot of lack of trust in mainstream media because you could make anyone sound like what you want them to in a 3-minute segment, right? So a podcast is a long form segment that, they call it the presidential podcast, like the last in the U.S., the last president, like the amount of podcasts that Trump went on versus Kamala Harris did, and that reached to more people because you can, like anything, you can fake it for 15 minutes. It's very hard to fake who you are on a Joe Rogan 2.5 hour 3. Like at some point you're gonna break, and so I think there's that authenticity. No, none of my clients have that long of a podcast because I generally work with people who have a business. So they're using the podcast as kind of like a marketing channel, offering really great, powerful advice, but having some offer or service attached to it. So I think, when I think about the future of podcasting, this is a scenario I think that will happen very soon. So you take your local news, like let's say in Vegas or in Canada, and it's so strange. They have these huge studios, and they have these vans of like remote vans with these like $15,000 cameras. I think that's all going away. I think you see like a local Fox or ABC studio renting a WeWork space in the city full time, and they just have a conversation. Because I listen to Hard Fork, I listen to the Morning Brew Daily. They have these small studios, and they're reporting the news in a very authentic way. They report the news, they give contextual information. You can run ads in between or on a visible spectrum, but you're not cutting a lot. You're not taking away from the authenticity. So I see a lot of that. I think about your studio a lot. I hope it has kind of like the backdrop of Vietnam, like the Today Show or something like that, where people can actually see life happening behind you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting. I do oscillate on this, right? Like, one of the things I watched recently was, it's not that new, but Chris Williamson staging these huge, like, video screen in studio, almost like theatrical production podcasts, where you had like, whether it's Tim Ferriss, Naval Ravikant, big name, celebrity guests. I think for him, it really felt like a sort of, if not a pinnacle, at least a new plateau of his show. Mm-hmm. Enormous amounts of money, the equivalent of like putting on a show like Wicked on Broadway, right? Except it's just two guys talking. And I remember both being impressed by what he was doing and his vision for that, but also sort of thinking like, I want the opposite of that. Whatever that, like just because it's artifice, right? It that ultimately is a layer that is not the authentic conversation. It's beautiful, it's a vision, but it's not. And so I was thinking like, what, this sort of, how do I have a studio, but also how do I like take advantage of the fact that, Anthony Bourdain, to film an interview on a boat in the Mekong River in Cambodia, needed to bring a Land Rover full of cameras and gear and people. So I don't, right? Mm-hmm. And that's really what I think is the humongous advantage of being a creator right now in 2025, right? Is that I have these DJI mic too. You just showed me the minis, which are even smaller and more beautifully made. I'm holding an action camera that is smaller than a pack of cigarettes. And this is all we need. Like, we could film this interview, barring like an accident or sound, on the back of a pair of motorbikes, on the river in the Mekong. So I do flip back and forth between that desire for sort of quality versus like, if we're trying to show people, what it's like to live in Vietnam, to live in Southeast Asia, to leave America behind, how can you give someone, the viewer, the person watching right now, the most authentic experience of our lives, right? Not like, just like you're saying, no fucking B-roll, not edited. Like, this is really what a day is like. And it is, right? Like, I'm trying my absolute best while making this exact video to show someone what it's like for you and I to have a day in our lives in Da Nang, right? Other than actually stopping to play paddle for an hour, which I thought maybe we should.
I wish.
We would have been a bit too sweaty, but you know what I mean? Like, showing them like, this is what it's like. We have a coffee, maybe we do some work. This is the apartment we're in, and then this is where we would come for lunch. So what, like...
I do have an answer.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to balance authenticity with high production value. And it's very hard to do that, because when you're editing things, you want to make things look pretty, because that is retention. Like having B-roll, having a trailer up front. If you look at Diary of a CEO, like every time you watch the first 30 seconds, like he grips you, because like the editing, the sound design, that's part of the process. One of the podcasts I really like listening to is Trigonometry on YouTube. And they're really good about how they cut, how they manage those things. When you talk about Chris Williamson, you're talking about him filming in the Volume, which is a high-end LCD screen. I would argue that, imagine a news podcast filmed in that way, where like they're talking about something and the video of that B-roll is just in the background. Like today in Vegas, they had a grand opening at the Sphere, and just in the background, while they're having the conversation, that's playing. So it's all in camera, and there's not much cuts. So I see that. But specifically, let's talk about like the Mekong Delta and having that. I think it's a combination of two things. I think it's a combination of what you want to do, which is go live. So you have your iPhone 17 or whatever iPhone, you're going YouTube live, it's strapped to your chest, POV, it's everything from forgetting your whatever thing costs, and then you take that and then you have somebody edit it pretty, and then now you have a choice. The viewer has a choice. I liked this experience, but I don't need to spend 5 hours with Evan. I just need to spend the 5 minutes with Evan and see what's driving what. Because it's two different audiences. There's the person in America that's sitting on their couch before they go to bed, and they just want to enjoy the Mekong Delta and Evan's experience until they fall asleep. And there's somebody who's like, I need to go to the Mekong Delta. What do I need to know? I only have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I like that. Okay, well, let's show them all what you get at a sort of, let's call this the bougie. This is bougie Da Nang, right? This is the Da Nang that did not exist 5 years ago. Yeah. Big, beautiful Bali style rice bowls they're exactly $6 US here. And then just before I do a little outro, I have to ask, how much money do you make as a digital nomad? How much you make?
Well, I would say it changes, but I would say I'm at that 3,000 to 5,000 mark a month. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, congratulations on that, Marvin, because it's not easy. it's not. You know, I think there's a really false narrative on that now too, that it's fucking easy to go and start a business and make money. I'll tell you, it was easy. My old office job, being a middle manager at a high school, compared to what I'm doing now and what you're doing, that's super easy. So, again, thanks so much for watching. I'm Evan A. This is the Cost of Living show. Marvin's information is all below. Obviously, if you want my help with moving to Vietnam, I have my 60-minute masterclass. That's also linked below. It helps you with the basics like housing, banking, even dating, and other fun stuff like that. If you want to watch another video, this is an American veteran who retired in Da Nang. We take a look inside his beautiful condo at Sam Towers. This is with another couple and entire family who moved here with 4 Chihuahuas, 2 teenagers, and they came from Costa Rica. Thanks so much.